What's up, friends? Stobbie here, and I wanted to spend a little time talking about what I think went wrong with my first and second attempts of Long War of the Chosen, and then talk a little bit about what I'm planning to do tactically for my third attempt of Long War of the Chosen and a few additional mods that the third attempt is going to have. So, if we think back to, I suppose you could call it the first season of Long War of the Chosen, we spawned in Asia, and what went well, what went badly? What went well was I had my first month tactics where I would spend the first bit of money, buy a scientist immediately, throw that scientist straight into the country that's gathering intel, and give ourselves as long as possible as we can for infiltration timers. That, I think, worked quite well. The crucial part of the campaign for us there was when I made the decision to delay taking laser weapons and try to get the continent bonus. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the continent bonus until like July, and then when we got the bonus, it was rubbish. It turned out to not be great at all. Something similar happened in the second playthrough, where I think we spawned in Africa, but I couldn't make contact with all three of the countries. Again, bought a scientist immediately, used that scientist to scan for longer times. That had the knock-on effect of delaying my guerrilla tactics school, meaning that all of my officers were slightly lower levels. This was something that happened in the first playthrough as well. This leads me to believe that what I could have done better was to be far more aggressive early on with respect to gathering money. Now, a key thing that I learned was when you go to your headquarters, this is from a recent offline campaign. I started in South Africa, and right on day one, it occurs to me that you get your headquarters country has a radio relay. The radio relay is important because it doubles your supplies being gathered. And this leads me on to one of the things tactically I'm going to do differently in my third attempt, coming soon. Probably in the next few days I'll start releasing an episode a day. In this third attempt, those first bit of supplies are not going to be spent on a scientist straight away in the black market. We're going to spend those first bit of supplies on the GTS and get the officer training station immediately, and we're going to make sure that we really prioritize getting our officers as high level possible as quickly as possible. It's going to make those first few missions a little bit harder for infiltration times, but as soon as we can afford a scientist, we'll buy one, and then hopefully by the time we have a scientist, we will have made contact with the second country. We will look to do a jailbreak to get the numbers up in the starting country. Then at the end of that first month, we'll move to the second country we've made contact with, gather intel there, and then put our starting country, hopefully with at least 9 or 10 resistance operatives, straight onto supply gathering. With the fact that there is a radio tower there, we can hopefully gather around 250 to even 400 supplies, depending on how many resistance personnel we have. And that's going to mean that right from March, April, we're going to have 300-400 supplies being gathered. That's going to allow us to buy a scientist and an engineer every month for the first few months. And that's going to have a knock-on effect on the rest of the campaign that I think is going to set us up very, very well. One other thing is, okay, the timing of going for laser weapons and or mag weapons. In this particular campaign here, I was able to rush laser weapons. However, instead of building 2 or 3 full squads worth of laser weapons like I did in the previous campaigns, what I did here, which worked out much nicer, was I built only 1 full set of laser weaponry for, my alpha squad, which is operating at around April to May, which is usually when you can get laser weapons. Then you go straight for mag weapons, and if all goes well and with a bit of luck, you can even then get mag weapons by probably that next month, early June, late May. And that's exactly what happened here. Before even June, I had laser weapons completed with 1 full set of weaponry, and I had mag weapons, even advanced mag weapons, being researched. So by April, May, mid-May, I had 1 full set of laser weaponry and 1 full set of mag weaponry. Then the mag weaponry gets used by your alpha squadron, the laser weaponry gets used by your beta squadron, and then another month later, you get a 3rd set of weaponry. Mag weapons. So alpha and beta squadrons use mag weapons, and your Charlie squadron uses laser weaponry. You got 2 mag, 1 laser. That allows you to always have 3 squadrons operating out in the world with mag weapons. This leads me on to the final thing tactically that I want to look to do better in my third playthrough. That is managing the doom clock. Now, both attempts 1 and 2, I never even got to see the doom counter. We had a bit of bad luck in the second playthrough where Advent completed 2 dark events, which would have meant that the campaign would have just ended by early October. So, what I've done in the past is I will start the chain of liberating a country, but then Advent activity strength gets higher, and I chicken out and I move over to the next country. And that process just keeps on repeating itself. So in this third attempt, we're going to take a lot more risks, and we're going to be willing to stay in a country as the strength gets higher. What I'm going to hope to do is get the timing right of having just hit mag weapons and getting a full set of mag weapons and predator armor. That's when we at our strongest in the early to mid game. And if we get our timing right as we get the full set of mag weapons and the full set of predator armor, we should have the third and fourth missions in the chain of liberating a country open up to us. We really need to be more aggressive in liberating a country. So, to recap, we're going to make a small tweak to this first month. We will build the GTS and the officer training station straight away with those first bit of supplies. Then the next bit of money will get spent on a scientist. Hopefully at that point we can then, at the end of that first month, chuck the scientist into our second country, have the first country just be full of resistance operatives gathering supplies, and that's going to launch our economy into the early game. Get laser weaponry as soon as we can, but only build 1 set of laser weapons, then go mag weapons, get 2 sets of those, then go to armor, get a full set of armor. Hopefully at that point liberate a country, and bam, we should be away. I'm really looking forward to it. You guys can expect to see 1 episode of XCOM every day, and hopefully, win or lose, we can get very deep or maybe even wrap up this campaign before Phoenix Point gets released in the first week of December. But tactically, that's what I'm looking to do. Hopefully I can stick to it, hopefully it'll go well, and hopefully we'll get a Africa or America start. If we start in Asia again, that's fine, we'll just have to deal with it. Alright, let's look at some mods now. I am adding a few extra mods into the third attempt, and let's go over them now. Right, so let's talk mods. As always, the link to the full list of mods is in the description below. For this third attempt, I'm going to keep all of the mods I had in the first 2. However, I wanted to add a couple of mods, 2, 3, 4, like 8 or 9 of them, that I saw in Christopher Odd's latest playthrough and I thought were very interesting. Let's quickly go over them and have a little discussion on what we think it might do to the playthrough. So first of all, diverse alien pods. So, allows alien pods to roll multiple different types of followers. Basically, it means there's a leader of every pod, and in the base game, it chooses 1 enemy type, and then it assigns all the rest of that pod to that same type of alien, which is why you will, for example, if you see a pod that is an Advent officer with 3 guardians, it's because it rolled for a guardian, had 1 extra slot, so it just gave 2 guardians. Whereas, let's say with this one now, if you have a 5 alien pod, it'll give you the leader, and then it'll roll each slot individually. So it should make for more variation with the aliens that we fight. Landed UFOs from day 1. This is going to be interesting. So in the base game, you have to have first completed the UFO defense before UFOs start actually showing up. This means that from day 1, any of these supply raids can be UFO landings. It's basically a 50% chance. Either it'll be the usual supply raid that we get in Long War of the Chosen, where it's just protecting the convoy on the ground. Other half of the time it'll be a landed UFO raid. Really looking forward to that. It'll help spice things up. Turrets are covered, just a little quality of life fix. It needs to be that. The fact that I didn't have this running was a little irritation from the last 2 playthroughs. Fair lost targeting is another nice one. I didn't actually realize in the base game the Lost have a 70% chance to target your guys over Advent. Sneaky Advent. This takes it down to 50%. So that the Lost have half chance of attacking you, half chance of attacking Advent, making it a bit more fair. Additional mission types should be quite interesting. A new mission type, emergency extraction, council mission type, where you have to actually help your factions. Rescue Haven survivors. It's very similar to the base War of the Chosen mission, where you have to run up to the little civilian who is stuck by the car that's got the gun and you got to get him out. Similar to that, but you might have like columns of civilians running towards you, aliens behind them, you run towards the civilians, help them, provide them cover, shoot and scoot, should be very cool. Neutralize Avatar Project VIP, great. And escort resistance operative to Advent facility, that we shouldn't see too many times. Next up, more mission sit reps. This is pretty cool. I love sit reps. I think they're interesting, but the default spawn rate for sit reps is quite low. This one allows sit reps for nearly everything, so we should get sit reps more often. Again, these last couple mods should just add for more variation and more spice. Soundtrack restoration, War of the Chosen, and tactical legacy expansion, so just more of the mod packs that contain music get played more often. So instead of hearing just what you're hearing now, the bass music, we should hear some of the other music. And again, it's just to spice things up. Next up, civilians revamped. A lot of description here, but long story short, it means that civilians will be less stupid in combat. They will be less likely to just stand out in the open as they get shot at. They will be more likely to run away from enemies. And they'll be more likely to, instead of just hunkering down right next to an enemy, they will get the hell away. Last but not least, War of the Chosen, nice mission debriefing. It's just something I want to have because it actually gives you more detail about how the mission went, and it nominates an MVP. I tended to do that myself, just picking an MVP after every mission, but this will just remind me to do so. And it'll be interesting to see if the MVP that gets chosen by the program is the same one that we would actually choose ourselves. So yeah, attempt number 3 of Long War of the Chosen starting very, very soon. As I mentioned earlier, just bear in mind, for most of them I won't be live streaming it. I'll probably be recording it myself offline without a camera. Yeah, I need the flexibility to be able to record offline. The live streaming will continue to be Darkest Dungeon and Battle Brothers, but never mind that. Let's get hyped for another attempt of XCOM. And as I mentioned earlier as well, if you haven't got a character in the character pool, please submit a bin file. The link to my Discord is in the description below. Follow the link there to Stobbie's character submissions. And I will actually prepare a Word document that I will pin to that channel where you can check whether you've been added or not to stop you from double submitting brothers to the character pool. Right, looking forward to it. Let's do this. XCOM. Hooah!